Now, the company linked to the forced transfer of Palestinians from Gaza has spoken for the first time. Al-Majd Europe says it wants to address what it calls false accusations. The spotlight's been on the Shadowy organisation since it chartered a plane last week carrying 153 Palestinians to South Africa. They were left stranded on the tarmac in Johannesburg. Authorities initially barred their entries. They didn't have exit stamps or slips from Israel in their passports. 130 Palestinians were eventually allowed in under a 90-day exemption from visas. Al-Majd Europe says in a statement on X that the association was founded by refugees who escaped dictatorial regimes, including refugees from Hamas rule in Gaza, with the purpose of helping their brothers and sisters living under oppressive authority and seeking to begin a life of freedom and dignity in a new place. Our only interaction with the Israeli authorities is for the purpose of coordinating exits from Gaza. Every person who has left Gaza since the start of the war has had to go through Israeli security coordination. There is absolutely no connection to Mossad or any other intelligence agency. The Palestinian Authority stopped issuing passports to Gaza residents about a year ago, deliberately preventing them from leaving or travelling internationally. The PA also contacts countries we work with and requests the cancellation of landing permits and visas. Individuals who choose to leave contribute part of the substantial costs associated with evacuating refugees from conflict zones. The remaining costs are covered through donations from philanthropic entities seeking to support people in crisis. A significant proportion of our operations is carried out by dedicated volunteers who contribute their time and efforts to support refugees. Our mission is strictly humanitarian and temporary. It will end once an official, safe and effective travel mechanism is established. Until then, we operate solely within legal procedures. Now, joining us here is Tamer. He's an associate professor of public policy at the Doha Institute for Graduate Studies. Very good to have you with us. Just before you start, I just want to add a little bit of perhaps a clarification for viewers. The statement there suggested that it was the PA who had blocked people from getting passports in Gaza. My understanding is that it wasn't the PA who stopped issuing passports to Palestinians from Gaza. Everybody who was evacuated through the proper channels apparently got to reissue their passports or renew them. Companies that provided the service had apparently been stopped because there were series of cases of fraud that have been uncovered. Now, given the statement that we've just had, there were so many questions that people were asking about this organisation. Who exactly was behind it, where they were based, how they carried out their operations. Does that statement give us any clarification on that?
I mean, the entire truth, I mean, it might not be known, I mean, but of course it looks like a shady operation. But what matters most is that we know that anything that happens in the occupied land, it has to be blessed and coordinated with the Israelis. And if it's somehow is aligned or serves with greater Israeli interests, then it's even better for the Israelis. And from the onset of this war, I mean, the Israelis have been very vocal about displacing Palestinians from the Gaza Strip, emptying it. I mean, this has been, it's not a secret. I mean, if we follow Israeli official statements. So if this serves Israel's goals, yes, let it be. I mean, for them, they will be happy, they will jump on it. Did they create the organization? Possibly, yes. I mean, it has all the evidence around similar Israeli operations where they create entities, fake entities. I mean, we have seen even the pager attacks in Lebanon. I mean, the companies behind these attacks against the Hezbollah members, I mean, they were also registered companies in Hungary, in some European countries. So the Israeli army is capable of mastering such operations. But for me, what matters as a Palestinian is that either way, regardless of the real entity of this operation or who's behind it, it serves the bigger goal of Israel. Having this said, people in Gaza do have the right to leave, to seek medical treatments on humanitarian needs. It's their ultimate decision, no one's else's decision. So they should not be deprived from this right to leave, but it has to be through official means, number one. And most importantly, they do have the right to return as well. What worries me is when I hear stories like this one where there were no stamps on the passports. So the South African authorities were surprised to see empty passports. And this carries Israel's hands and involvement for sure. So I don't want Palestinians to leave and then unable to go back or return to their homeland once there is an opportunity for them to return.
And that's a key element, isn't it? Because the Trump administration has this 20-point plan working towards a long-term peace in Gaza. And it specifically says that people in Gaza should be allowed to stay if they want to. They should also be allowed to leave if they want to. But if they do leave, they should be allowed to return. And from what you're saying, there is now a lot of speculation about whether or not that could happen if people leave under these circumstances.
Correct. I mean, and again, the timing is troubling because we are now in a critical time and moment where we see this opening for a window of opportunity to bring peace, to end this war and to reconstruct Gaza. And this is very evident in the 20 points Trump plan, peace plan, and also in the UN resolution that was endorsed to establish a stabilization mission and to reinitiate the construction of the Gaza Strip. And in all these plans, I mean, there are key terms very clear that indicate that Palestinians have the right to stay, and also for the ones who have left during the war, they should be able to return. So my question now is, the timing is so worrying, and it tends to me that Israel still has this appetite to sabotage, meaning that they're piloting these projects now through these mechanisms. And so for me, the intention is, or what I understand is that Israel did not lose hope from continue working on achieving this goal. I mean, displacing Palestinians, despite all this momentum that we see now and this American commitment and Trump's administration commitment. So is Israel in defiance of these of its own allies, of the Trump administration? I think, yes, it is challenging the Trump administration. It is going in its own parallel plan to sabotage. And I think sooner or later we'll see to what extent the Americans and the international community is able to tolerate this behavior.
We should remember, of course, that in addition to this organization, there are other established aid and humanitarian organizations who've been carrying out similar operations when people have wanted to leave Gaza for medical reasons, as you mentioned, family reasons, and so on. What is the risk, do you think, that people in Gaza who do want to leave might look at this situation, look at this company, and then have doubts about whether or not they should be leaving when their reasons may be perfectly justified?
Of course, I mean, it adds more pressure on an already traumatized population. I mean, let's not forget, I mean, yes, the war in its ugly phase has ended now. The conflict is not over yet. Gaza has been turned into an unlivable place now. And people worry of a very slow reconstruction process where Israel will hinder it, of a wasted generation. That's a term that's used now in Gaza, where, I mean, an entire generation is waiting for hospitals, schools to be rebuilt. So families are thinking of options and scenarios as well. And they're aware of Israeli nature and all the challenges that come in this process. So, but to add more complexity on this is the judgment factor. And I mean, as a Palestinian from Gaza, family members, I don't think anyone should be in position to judge Palestinians of their choices. They are people, they're human beings, they have their own choices, they can make it. What matters for me is that because they're Palestinians and because of the nature of this conflict, where Israel is a settler colonial state and it wants the land without its own indigenous people, it wants to displace them, it wants to empty it, Palestinians have to have all guarantees once they leave, if they need to leave, to come back as well in a decent, humanified way that aligns with international law and international human rights.
Tamer, Qarmout, we appreciate it. Thank you very much indeed.
My pleasure.
Don't miss out the full picture. Subscribe to Al Jazeera for reliable news and expert insights. Like, share, stay ahead.